Welcome everyone. This is a short video about the clavicle. So clavicle is one of the bones in the shoulder region. With scapula, clavicle and scapula together, they form the pectoral girdle. And pectoral girdle, it attaches the upper limb with the axial skeleton. So clavicle is one example of a long bone, but it's unique in that it doesn't have a marrow cavity or medullary cavity, which means it doesn't contain yellow bone marrow. So as you see here, clavicle lies horizontally. So it extends from the sternum to the acromial process of the scapula. And when we see clavicle, clavicle is not straight. It has a double curve. So the medial two-thirds of the clavicle is convex anteriorly, and the remaining, the lateral one-third, is concave anteriorly. So the junction is the weak point. So commonly, fracture happens at the weak point. So commonly, fracture happens at the junction of the medial two-thirds and the lateral one-third. And clavicle has two ends. It has sternal end and it has acromial end. So medially, it has sternal end. As you see, the sternal end is enlarged and it's more or less triangular. It's roughly triangular. And the sternal end, as the name indicates sternal, it articulates with the sternum, with the upper part of sternum, specifically with manubrium, and it forms the sternoclavicular joint. Laterally, it has acromial end. The acromial end is flat, as you see it here. And as the name indicates acromial, this end articulates with the acromial process of the scapula, and they will form the acromioclavicular joint. And when you see the superior surface of the clavicle, it's smooth. It doesn't have any bony markings. But the inferior surface has many bony markings. So medially, there is an oval impression, which is known as costoclavicular impression. So it's the attachment site for costoclavicular ligament. So as the name indicates, costoclavicular. So in anatomy, always, costo stands for the ribs. So there is a ligament that runs from first rib to clavicle, which is known as costoclavicular ligament. So this is attachment site for the costoclavicular ligament. And this ligament stabilizes the sternoclavicular joint. In the middle, we have subclavian groove. So subclavian groove is insertion site for subclavius muscle. There is a muscle that runs from first rib to clavicle, which is known as subclavius muscle. So this muscle inserts into this groove. And laterally, there are two bony markings. We have conoid tubercle and trapezoid line. These two bony markings are attachment sites for a ligament. There is a ligament that runs from coracoid process to clavicle, which is known as coracoclavicular ligament. This coracoclavicular ligament has two parts. It has conoid part and it has trapezoid part. So at their name case, conoid part will attach to conoid tubercle and trapezoid part will attach to trapezoid line. So the most medial one is conoid and the lateral one is trapezoid. So that's all about clavicle.